politics, and power. The term regime comes from the Latin word regimen, which means to rule. A regime, therefore, is a political system of governance. Regimes throughout history have predominantly been unilateral, with authority being bestowed on sovereigns to rule over nations. Monarchs were said to be the chosen ones from among the elites, picked by God Himself and granted unfettered and unquestionable decree to rule from generations to generations to generation. Nations were taught never to question the authority of the sovereign, because by doing so, they would essentially be questioning God, and God cannot be questioned and is without reproach. Of course, in time, nations questioned the mandate of the royals. And regimes and empires began to crumble and transitioned from strict monarchical rule to a less oppressive form of governance, especially after they ceded colonial authority over the lands and people they had acquired in the name of the kingdom or the state and the church and God. We will deal with the church in greater details in following programs, but let's stick to understanding regime. When new nations were formed, they set up their own governance systems, which are largely patterned after former empires, but were given different terms. They were generally called republics. A republic, therefore, is a form of government in which power is explicitly vested in the people, who in turn exercise their power through elected representatives. The difference being the people, not God, grants rulers the power and authority to lead. Hence, the early 18th century phrase, "the voice of the people is the voice of God." The validation of power then becomes manifested in the actions of those who are ruled by the said power. The predominant and radical regime type, therefore, is a republic. Although several former colonies adapted to terms which branded their sovereign identity and closely aligned them to their former rule, like the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth, a league of 53 former British colonies, was founded by the Parliament of the United Kingdom in 1931 and is headed by the Queen of England. The headquarters of the Commonwealth of Nations is also in England. What does this essentially do? Well, this is a rhetoric question, the sort of which will be normally presented throughout these episodes. There are some nations, though belonging to the Commonwealth, have been a bit more radical and proactive with their approach to nationhood. In the case of the Caribbean, only 3 nations are republics: the Republic of Haiti, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Republic of Dominica. Those 3 countries chose to take the route of other nations like the United States of America with the post-colonial branding of republic. A republic is headed by a president of the people. Commonwealths are presided over by governor generals of the people, but with the trappings of the British crown. Politics and power.